You're listening to Why Germany podcast, the best place for relocation stories and expert tips, sponsored by Over the Offek, relocation agency to Germany, with your host, Eden Levine.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Why Germany. My name is Eden Levine and with me is Panajota. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Eden. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. Today we're going to talk again, like in every episode, about why Germany, Panajota.
Why Germany? So for me, why Germany? There was in the beginning actually no specific reason why Germany, because I actually wanted to go to Sweden as a plan initially, but then Germany somehow it happened in my life because I got in my last semester. I'm from Greece, first of all. I'm from Albania and Greece, but I was raised up in Greece, and I was studying in Athens back then in my bachelor, and I had an internship, a mandatory internship I had to do, and I was looking for it abroad because I wanted to get an experience somewhere else. And Germany, Munich happened specifically back then. And then I never left.
Yeah. I mean, when we spoke in the beginning, you said randomly. So we are going to explore that randomly in a second. But you gave us really in a nutshell why Germany. So take us as far back as you need for us to really know the full story of what brought you to Germany.
Yeah, sure. So for me, at the age of around 15, 16 already, in Greece, we have to choose which direction do we want to go in high school. So is it like which direction of studies approximately? So it was for me clear I wanted to go to some studies that I could do abroad as well. So I could combine with work abroad. So subjects like law and teacher and stuff were already gone because I knew it would keep me in the country. So I already had made my mind clear back then. I wanted to leave. Then it happened like that. So I studied management and technology in Athens, and I went to Erasmus in Sweden. And there I realized how much I love the internationalism and being abroad and being with other nationalities and all this like experience of like just being in under one common language, everyone, but still so different and so diverse. I love the diversity. Then I went back to Greece and I said, okay, I'm going back to Sweden. I want to stay here anymore. Then it was a clear yes for me. And then I started looking for internships in Sweden. I started learning Swedish language for going like on a B1 level or something, so that I could really like do it. I did intensive private lessons, imagine. So I really was determined to leave. And the only place I knew, I would say, it was also Sweden. Then I saw that my applications were not really going well because the internships were needing a lot of other stuff. So I said, okay, what other country does it come to my, which other country does speak to my heart, basically? And Germany was the next one. I don't know why. There was no reason. I had no experience. I just visited Germany, Berlin and Dresden back then only. These were the only cities I had seen. And I really liked it. Then I said, okay, Germany I could also think of. Then I started applying for Germany. But one day, I have only started only 2 weeks to apply, nothing more. And then I get a message from my Erasmus group from a German guy who is leaving his internship because it's almost over, but they were looking for a new person in Munich in exactly sales and marketing. That was my wish to do the internship as well. And I said, yes, I'm interested, etc. So then it happened that they accepted me, but it was not as easy. I mean, it was, they accepted me. Okay, I did the interviews, everything fine. But then I had an Albanian passport back then. I didn't have a Greek passport, which means I didn't have a European citizenship. So it was not as easy for me to come to Germany and just start like that an internship. And I didn't know it. I was very surprised because in Sweden, I could do it because I went for 3 months only, but this internship was for 6 months. And this means that I had to have a visa, a normal working visa limited to 6 months. So I started the company in Germany thought that I was normal Greek citizens. They sent me the papers, everything I signed, etc. And I booked my tickets to come here in November. It was November 2014. And then I'm like, and they sent me later an email when I sent a passport, because they needed my passport photo. And then they realized, hey, this is not a Greek passport. This is an Albanian one. You cannot just come like that. You have to have a visa. And I got shocked because, and they said, I went to the German embassy in Greece, in Athens, and they told me you have to have a visa before you even travel to Germany. You're not allowed to work there, to start working, and you cannot get the visa while you're working already. And I couldn't believe it. I was so shocked. So I postponed basically the internship. I said, please, I will arrange everything. Give me 2 weeks, give me 3 weeks. They gave me 2 weeks, they gave me 3 weeks, and then another 3 weeks I asked for, and the new date was beginning of January, something like that. I never got the visa, but I got, because it was taking way too long, but in parallel I was basically begging every Greek public sector to give me the Greek ID, which I had applied already for 5 years and waiting for it. So, the bureaucracy in Greece is a bit worse than in Germany. If I could say. Yeah, there is worse. Germany is bad, but there is worse when it comes to bureaucracy. So in the end, I had my ticket on the 8th of January, my starting date for the internship on the 8th of January, and I got my citizenship on the 3rd of January and my ID, and I traveled on the 6th or something, and the 8th I started. And somehow it was really, I would say, a miracle, or just, it was meant to be somehow to be here, definitely, because my job was waiting. An apartment in Munich, which is like impossible to find, was waiting for 2 months extra. This guy, I'm very happy that he waited for me for this room. And then I came, and then everything started.
Crazy. So many questions.
Yeah.
Let's start. Let's dive in. So you're saying were you born in Albania and then moved to Greece?
With my parents. Exactly. I was born in Albania. I lived my first 5 years there, 5.5 approximately. And then my parents immigrated after, because in Albania it was 1998 when we left. It was not a civil war as such, but a civil turbulence and a chaos in the country because of the system breakage that happened there was a communism for 50 years. And then the country was for the first time chaotic, I would say, not democratic, but
left on their own.
Exactly, left on their own totally, and in chaos. So there was a lot of turbulence and a lot of crime and a lot of insecurity also for my parents, and a lot of Albanians left that period and went to Albania, to Italy with boats, or to Greece on foot, or somewhere else in Asia, in Asia or something.
Wow. And so, do you think that was a contributing factor for you being at the age of 15, 16 saying, I don't want to stay in Greece?
Definitely, yeah. I have to admit, I love Greece very much, and I love Albania as well very much. They are my countries and my cultures, and I like the culture too. But there was something that I decided that there was something inside me that was saying, no, I need something more multiculti. I need more diversity, and I didn't have it at all. I needed new inputs somehow, and I don't know, I never felt that I belong in either of these countries 100%. So
you did also visit back when you were in Greece? You were visiting Albania
every year. Yeah,
every year.
We were spending all our summers in Albania.
Wow.
There was no summer that I didn't spend in Albania. So I had a very big connection as well, and even today, until today, I spend almost every summer there too.
Really?
So yeah, I cannot even imagine not going there.
Wow. But then again, you're saying something was still missing from both of them. this multiculti you're saying. So basically in both of them, you feel like they are very much with their own community and not really, there's not a lot of mixing with other cultures.
Yeah, not really. The only different, like in Albania, there's only Albanians, first of all. There's no other countries, no other nationalities. Only now, the last, I would say 5 years mainly, there were some, because of the tourism that has been, like, Albania has become super famous as tourist destination the last 5 years. And some people have started, some Europeans have started buying houses and spending their winter there or something like that, as a compensation to a heavy winter here or in the north, I don't know where. So that's the only way that now Albania has started to become a little bit more multiculti, but apart from that, there were only Albanians in Albania, and that was very interesting. Now thinking about it as an adult, but as a kid, I only saw Albanians and I only spoke Albanian, although half of them were immigrants somewhere else and coming back to the country. And then in Greece, same. The only foreigners were the immigrants. Basically, the Albanians, the Bulgarians, the Ukrainians, I don't know, like the Russians, so other nationalities that were just immigrants in the country, but they were not like immigrants in the sense of like really hard-working immigrants, not in this, I want to go to the country and I want to live a life there and build my own thing, but still be like...
It was not really from choice.
Exactly. It was from need, not from choice. Like
right.
It's here sometimes. Like it was my decision. It was by choice to go somewhere else, to come to Germany, for example. But yeah.
So if I take what you're saying is basically you can really tell the difference when somebody actually wants to immigrate to a place, then had to come from a need.
Yes, totally.
From what I'm seeing also from the refugees that came to Germany and those who are kind of like here, as you said, because of a need, you see that their will to integrate is not as powerful, not as big as those who are really coming from a wish. And I understand completely what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I saw it also with my own family, of course, like... not only with my uncles, parents, because we all came, like the cousins of my dad, all the siblings of my mother, my cousins. So they were all there. But two of them decided, for example, two of my uncles decided to go back to Albania after some time because they never wanted really to integrate and they never felt home in Greece. But because although they didn't do it by choice. Because they had to survive and they had to escape Albania. That's the reason. Yeah.
So it seems like you're starting by saying if you really wish to integrate to the place you're going to, start with really wanting to go to that place. So that will help you with that decision. And if you're planning anyway to go back, then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I wouldn't say it doesn't matter because it's still, I find it a kind of a respectful sign towards the country, towards the society that you're going to put an effort to integrate, even independent on how long you're staying. Like even if you're staying for 2 months or 3 months, it's still nice to show that you try or you show that you want to be there where you want to, that you care what the others say and what are the norms, what are the values, what are the unspoken rules of the society, because you are the one who came. So I feel like the ones who come needs to understand the responsibility also that they carry with them.
It seems to me like it's exactly what Germans are saying to people who are not Germans by saying, you are in Germany, speak German. It feels like this is where they come from, kind of. Although this is a whole different story, but
language is a bit trickier.
It's very tricky. But as we all know, language is also connected with the culture. It's also connected with the mentality and what people are bringing with them. And so I know, for example, that when you are speaking in Hebrew, you tend to go louder. Just somehow.
Yeah. In Greek too.
So you were saying you then went to, it's funny that you're mentioning, hey, I actually blocked options to study just because I knew what what works with going away, which is very mature also, I think, in that ages. I remember being the one to decide to study chemistry in the university, and everybody were like, wow, I can't believe you already know what you want to do with your life. Because people in that age, they're like, they just discover themselves. They discover that they have brains, and in that age you don't have a brain, but yeah, you discover that you have your own mentality and your own wishes, and you can actually do something about this. But you're already saying, I even eliminated the things with like super long-term thinking, which is amazing, I think, in that ages.
I'm also impressed now today thinking about it back then, because I apparently always had listened to my heart and to what my inner voice was telling me, and not only what people were telling around me, because I have been a little bit of a fighter always. Let's say I was a pioneer of one or other reason why I think I always wanted to go away is because I'm not very much aligned with the patriarchic system that we believe in, or that we live in Greece still, and in Albania even more. So another reason, like this social-based society was nice, but was too much at some point, and I liked this individualistic society of Sweden, of the north, for example. It was the first time where I saw, okay, it's okay to be like that, or it's okay to do your own thing without people commenting on it or telling you what to do, etc. Or even more, like when I saw, because Sweden has like super, like women in the society in Sweden are like higher almost than the men. It's the opposite to the Greek society or to the Albanian society. So for me it was an inspiration, basically, where I saw, okay, women can be really independent, or women can really have their kids alone, and the country really supports them and stuff like that. And not like in Greece, where do I go if I'm pregnant without a husband, and or in Albania. My country is, I would say, from now on, because it's too exactly. So it inspired me as well, and it gave me this push. I also want this freedom. I want this freedom, and maybe that was also the part that was inside me, that I wanted this freedom already with 15, 16, where I started realizing, okay, I'm getting a woman slowly. I start understanding the impact that this has. I started getting comments like, you have to be a good girl, you have to go study something that is in the office and not handwork or something, because that's not for girls, or other comments from the society generally, and expectations. And this is where I said, no, I would like to define my own life the way I want to.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. I love that.
Thank you.
And you're saying that you went to Sweden, you saw something completely different than what you're used to. And then you're back and you're saying, okay, I've made my mind. I went like all the way to learn Swedish, B1 level. Very impressive, especially when you're not there. It's already like a huge accomplishment. But then it actually doesn't work out the way you had in mind in the beginning. And I want you to take me back to that moment when you're like, okay, maybe Sweden is not the direction and Germany is. Like, how did it even come up in your head? What were the processes?
The processes, of course, I didn't speak any word German, zero. I didn't even have any connection to Germany at all in my life. I only had met in Sweden like my ex-boyfriend back then was half German or something like that. I don't even know. So the only thing that the only reason why Germany came to my mind is because I thought, okay, where else could I go with zero language skills for an internship with English? Mm-hmm. English was my tool, let's say. And Greek and Albanian, no one cared, I guess, back then, 10 years ago. So, I said, okay, I'm writing my CV now, and I'm sending it to big cities like Berlin, Düsseldorf, Munich, where companies were looking for in English only positions, internships. That's the only that's the reason, one reason. And the second reason was because I at least knew some people through my Erasmus studies that were here, like my current husband, So my husband today was a friend of mine back then. And at least, I had some people that I could at least ask things about. And it happened like a Greek guy I knew from Erasmus again was in Hamburg that period. So thanks to him, I found my apartment in Munich. And the connections, things just happened. It was like really, I really believe it was meant to be. But Germany came to me as an option because of that. Exactly. And then when I made the decision, I remember going to the kiosk, to a kiosk in my neighborhood, and seeing a newspaper with a leaflet present giveaway, learn basic German A11, and with a CD as well to it attached. So I bought it immediately, and I started learning at least hello, wie geht's? My name is, and then to just like go on the first days in the store or something.
Amazing. And I wonder, because you had, it wasn't a lot of experience in Sweden, but still somewhat of experience. Did you see any difference when you first came to Germany between Germany and Sweden? I think it's quite obvious there is a big difference to Germany and Albania, which I also want to hear about. But is there a difference between Sweden and Germany?
There is, yes. But for me, Germany, like the reason I also wanted to stay in Munich, I decided to stay, is because it was the perfect middle of the two extremes for me. The Swedish contrast versus Greece, for example, because they were very different from each other. Everywhere, in every sense. But Germany, Munich, back then, to me seemed like really the middle, the perfect middle, which has things from Sweden and from the south. Like the perfect combination of the north and the south somehow meeting in the middle.
Like what characteristic comes to mind?
Like, for example, people were more outside. People were more open than in Sweden, more outgoing, more international, I would say, as well in Munich. There were a lot of Italians, a lot of Greeks, a lot of nationalities that are closer to my culture, but were well adapted in the society. And in Sweden, you could mainly see other nationalities and mainly Swedish for me. So that I was in a very small town as well. So it was definitely a big difference in Sweden. But still, the culture is different. The feeling the vibes that you get from the cities, from the country is different. The food culture is different. In Sweden, I didn't really enjoy the food so much, I have to admit.
But in Munich you did.
In Munich I did. I started having my schnitzel and my stuff. So I liked it, It was closer to me, closer to what I like. There were a lot of Greek restaurants, authentic ones. There were a lot of Italian authentic restaurants and stuff. And that I was missing in Sweden. This connection to my countries, I guess. It was too far away.
Yeah. So basically you're saying this was the sweet spot in the middle, and you started in Munich, but then here we are in Leipzig. So tell me what happened between.
Yeah, I can tell you. It's more of a private journey, what happened in between. So in Munich, I was in the beginning in this internship. Then I decided I want to stay, first of all. And in order to stay and have a career here, I need to learn German. Otherwise, it's not possible. It was clear to me.
Although you said
after 6 months.
Here it could be actually your place to work with English.
In the beginning, at least, yes. Yeah, exactly. In the beginning. But no, I realized I could continue working in English, and I could live even as a Greek in Munich, because there's a lot of Greek stuff around, and there's people who live only with Greek, and they're fine, because there's Greek doctors, there's Greek cafes, Greek restaurants, Greek everything, Greek schools too. Yes, so it's really well established in the society, but I didn't want to live as a Greek in Germany. I wanted to live as a German in Germany, or as an international in Germany. One of the two options. And then I started learning German. I quit I found another job. I worked for another year in English, and while I was trying to learn a bit German on the side, then I quit this job and I decided I will learn German now. So 3-4 months I only did German. day and night, super intense course. And then I reached the B2 level. I am generally good with languages, I guess, because I have been raised bilingual. And generally, I like languages very much. So it's a bit, unfair to say that, German is easy to learn in 3 months, B2 level. No, not at all. I really put a lot of effort on it as well. I have to say, if you study very much, you can manage. I also have to say that. And then I started working in German for a year and a half. That was my first experience, also in the very, I would say the first time as well that I felt integrated in a German environment in my job back then, because it was also very local. It was in hotels in Munich, so I needed to know really much everything local. And this is where I also really loved, I really fell in love with Munich purely. I still am. And then I studied. I decided to do my master's. It was time. I said, before I get too old, I can do now my master's. And I did study at TUM, but for that I needed C1 level. I could not study with my B2 level. So again, I did another intense course to do that. And I managed within 3 months again to get the C1. But of course, the work helped a lot, the fact that I was working in German. And then I studied 2 years, again, in this direction, in innovation, entrepreneurship, management technology. And this is when, during that period, I met my husband. We changed with my husband our relationship to a relationship and not to a friendship anymore. So he is from Dresden, from Meißen specifically, around here. And then at some point, after 2-3 years of being married, we decided we want to move closer to the family. Where could that be? Or we want to move somewhere else where we don't have to pay so much rent if we move out of our small apartment in Munich, and to have a better life, an easier life than this. Munich is very expensive and very difficult to have these freedoms that sometimes that you want, at least that we wanted. And then we decided, okay, Leipzig is the only city I could imagine living in Saxony, because of some job opportunities, because of the openness, because of the internationalism. And this is when we made the decision, again very randomly, one day came here. We said, okay, let's check Immobilien, just like that. Let's check let's visit an office, a real estate office, to see what do they have and see. So this woman just showed us one place in Markkleeberg, and we said, okay, that's it.
I love
that's it. We come here. It was not easy, but to the step then to live again what I have built in Munich all these years, because I lived 8.5 years there.
Oh.
It's a lot.
So when was it that you moved to Markkleeberg?
A year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago, so 2022?
23, March.
March, wow.
March 23, exactly. And now it's August 24. It's not so long, but still, and now I feel like here I belong now. It's again this 1 year. I needed a year to take into this change inside me, to adjust really. Yes.
So now I have a different question. So you're talking about Munich, which is one of the biggest cities in Germany, and very international. You're even saying, hey, you can be completely Greek and survive.
Yes.
Thrive even. But then you come to Leipzig, which is, I would definitely not say the opposite, because it's not. It's very international as well. But you cannot survive as whatever nationality that is not German, and to stick really into that, not really.
No.
So how was it for you, this transition?
Not so easy, I think, because of that reason. The fact that I was so used to having so many international friends in Munich. Like my friends are from everywhere. Really, if you see them, you will say, okay, you have covered all parts of the world. Really, there is none that you haven't. Full map, all continents. And I miss them very much. But then here it was very German, and in a small town as well, like. In a small town next to Leipzig is even more German than in Leipzig itself, in the city center, in the city, which is okay. I just realized then, yeah, this is it. This is Germany. Then this is the finally the time that I can be fully integrated and fully German here, because I think in the end in Munich, because I didn't have to fully integrate, I also didn't put the effort, to be honest. So here I had to.
The motivation was there.
The motivation was there. The reason was there. I have to there is no other way. First of all, there is no other option. So I said, okay, that's it. It was not easy to live to completely get used to this in the beginning. And that's why it took me, I think, almost a year to really feel like, okay, I'm here fully now. But yeah, I like it now. I like it. I also got my German citizenship 2 weeks ago. So
wow.
Finally, with the stamp, integrated fully.
Now I have to ask about that.
Yes.
Because some people are already thinking about this. And obviously now because of the new law that came out in May.
Yes.
More and more people can apply for it.
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit about how it was like?
For me?
The process.
Yeah, I can, of course. Again, because I had the Albanian citizenship as well next to the Greek. If I had only had the Greek, it would be super easy. I would have gotten it immediately, like within a year or two maximum, I would have gotten it. Wow. Because as an European citizen, you get it very easily then. And you didn't need this law. You don't need this law, the new law that came out. But as an Albanian citizen, you need this law, or you need to remove your nationality. So that was the previous law was that I had to remove my Albanian nationality in order to be able to have the German, and then I would have the German and Greek. But then I started the process 4 years ago, approximately.
In Munich then?
In Munich, exactly. With the first call, information call, what do I need to do? Am I eligible for it? And I could do it already 6 years, after 6 years, and not 8 years, because I had studied in German. And there is a specific thing, if you are well integrated, you can already apply with 6 years. And if you are not so well integrated because you don't know the language or something, then you do it after 8 years.
Yeah, now it's reduced to 3 years if you're well integrated and 5 if you're not.
It's so much easier now.
Well integrated. I love for them the category is only German, you're well integrated, that's enough.
Yeah, who knows what else do they mean, but of course you can get it also via marriage, but this you need to wait 3 years, I think, for it. I mean, you know this better, I guess, than me, but I decided to do it with my own way, with my 6 years, and I applied, and then I had 2 years' time for removing my Albanian citizenship. So they give you 2 years, period, to remove it, and then once you have removed it, you return your paper, the confirmation, and you say, okay, I don't have any more the Albanian, here it is, you can give me now, continue with the process. So the process does not even continue until you do that. I did all the paperwork in Albania, I did all the paperwork that was necessary here, etc. I paid a lot of money and a lot of nerves for it, because also the bureaucracy in Albania is not easy. But a lot more modern than other countries, I have to admit, like Greece and Germany, because things are happening online now. Wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
The things that you're not used to here in Germany, where you should be used to, but yeah.
Yeah, imagine in Albania now I can download my birth certificate online in 5 languages directly and signed.
Don't say this stuff, please.
Without sending any paper, any letter anywhere.
Hard copy of anything. Originals. Blah.
Yes,
yeah.
Very crazy. But yeah, chapeau. And then I decided it was taking so long in Albania for this paperwork to be done, to be completed, the process with the Albanian embassy in Munich, with going to Albania, with doing all the things, that I said last year, you know what, I just wait for the new law.
Really?
I canceled the whole process.
So you still have your Albanian?
And I still have my Albanian.
What?
And I canceled everything. I said, okay, it doesn't matter how much money I'm losing right now or how much effort I put. I also feel Albanian. I want to keep it. Why not? It's a big part of me. So I'm very happy now that the law came out and that I can have all the 3 citizenships for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. it's a
lot of responsibilities. No, but I had this question as a follow-up. Although now I realize you didn't lose your Albanian, but you potentially were supposed to.
I was supposed to, exactly.
Was there any emotional attachment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was very hard.
It was hard for you.
It was hard for me, and that's why I decided to stop everything.
Wow.
Because I cried once because I said, how is it possible? How I am going to lose this? And not only that, but I also, of course, my dad is like, take the German one. Who needs the Albanian one?
Take it in one.
It's like Albania doesn't work like for anything, the passport in Albania, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, everyone else in my mother's family was emotional and were like, oh, how are you gonna lose your Albanian citizenship and you're Albanian as well and stuff like that. And I'm like, I know, I don't want it. But I also want to be in Germany because this is where I choose to be. So it was this dilemma, like my past and my present and future. I mean, future you don't know, you will never know where we are going to be. But for me, the near future is here. And then I felt it was difficult to make the decision. But I had to think to the future.
But luckily you don't have to do this.
And I don't have to. Thank God. I mean, I'm really so happy about this new law because it gives the right to be everything that you are.
Who you are. Yeah, absolutely.
And we are not only one.
I never had too much thought about this because also for Israelis, even if you are, even before that law, there was a different law for Israelis in particular that you don't have to lose your passport. But I never put too much thought of how much you attach your identity with that tiny book that says whatever country. You know?
Yeah, I understand. And this is what I told to myself as well. Like, the paper does not give me does not confirm that I'm Albanian. I am still Albanian, and I will always be.
Your history.
Yes,
yeah.
But still, it's a kind of a power you lose, I think, when you go to the country. Then.
No, I agree. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we've gotten very, very much, unfortunately, to the end of our episode. And here is when I ask you for one tip for our newcomers.
For the newcomers, I would really, really advise the newcomers to learn the language as soon as possible and not wait and get in their comfort zone because this is really the biggest trap you can fall into. Like, oh yeah, I can come along a little bit longer with English. Oh yeah, a little bit longer. But the longer you get you don't integrate, let's say, in that sense, only on that sense. It just makes you feel better if you go to the supermarket and you know what you're buying. If you go to the bureaucratical things and you can at least say 5 words, it doesn't matter. I would say learn 5 words at least. Put the effort of learning the habits and the norms of the society because it will make everyone's lives much easier.
Yeah. I agree and I second that. And we are even arguing that not only you should put the effort in the language, but also come with the intention of integrating in a sense of, and I've said that already in several episodes before, you're not supposed to erase who you are. You are supposed to add a different layer to who your personality is, because that will help you with your life in Germany, because it's you cannot be resistant to change.
Yes, and this is the one advice I would summarize it like, be open-minded when you come here.
Be open-minded. You heard this.
Be open-minded.
Panajota, I had so much fun. Thank you so much for being here. And I see you all in the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Why Germany. If you want to learn more about relocation, make sure to visit overtheoffic.com, your relocation experts.